What's up, guys? Today on Pew Pew Reviewz, I'm going to be talking about the Trijicon RMR, which is their ruggedized miniature reflex sight. This is the RM07, which is the adjustable LED model with a 6.5 MOA dot. I'm also going to be talking about this anti-flicker ceiling plate from Werx, which is a remedy, I should say, for the flickering of the red dot that some people experience when shooting this for sustained strings of fire, or even after using the gun for a couple hundred rounds. Some people experience it earlier than others, and some people never experience it. But basically what it is that this battery compartment here on this model, as well as the other LED models that Trijicon offers, does not have like a battery compartment door to seal the battery in and hold the battery in place. It just relies on the mount, whatever surface you're mounting this on, to kind of hold the battery in place. And what happens is sometimes these connectors here, from the recoil, they get warped or bent, and you lose connectivity between the battery and the red dot sight, and people will be shooting the gun and the red dot will start to fade, or it will dim, or it will turn off. And what a lot of people do is they just use some electrical tape or some shim or some type of I've seen some people use like silicone. They'll put like a drop of silicone here and then press their sight down on top of it to keep that in place. So what Werx did was they came out with a ceiling plate similar to the one that Trijicon offers, except it has this raised circle here. You can see here's the bottom of the plate. Let me see if I can get a little better picture here. So the bottom of the plate is kind of indented, while the top of the plate is raised. And what that does is applies upward pressure on the battery and keeps it from moving. In other words, keeps the red dot on all the time and prevents it from flickering. So I thought this was really cool. They're the first company that I've seen that has offered anything like this. Also, this plate is much thinner than the Trijicon plate that they offer. So what I also like about that is that here's my agency arms knock, and I'll do a review on this at a later date. But I have standard height sights on this gun. These are Trijicon HD night sights, and I'm sure most of you are familiar. And what happens is when I mount this here flush on top, you can see that, let me see if I can show that better. You can see that my sights will just see over the top of the base of this red dot, okay, of the RMR. And so that allows me to use my backup iron sights through my red dot, even though I don't have suppressor height sights. Well, if I were to use the Trijicon ceiling plate, it would raise this just high enough to where it would block out my iron sights, and I didn't really like that. With this in place, however, it does not raise my red dot or my RMR too high that I can't use my iron sights, which I really like. And you can kind of see here, I'll try to show you. I just press down on it. You can see, I can still see my iron sights through there, right over the bottom. And once I mount this, I'll give you guys a much better look at it. When I do the knock, the review on this knock here, I'll have that mounted, and then I'll show you the sight picture and all that. But for now, I just want to talk about this sight and why I went with this model. I know there's a lot of other models, some LED and some dual illuminated, which means that they use fiber optics. They have a fiber optic band that runs across the top and down the sides that collects ambient light, and that's what illuminates the dot when there's enough ambient light. And if there's not any ambient light, for example in the dark, then there's tritium that's housed inside the this aluminum housing that will illuminate the dot, at nighttime. The problem with the dual illuminated models, and I've had one in the past and I got rid of it, as many people do, is that in transition lighting scenarios, from standing in a dark room and aiming into a lighted room, or if your target is illuminated, if you're using a flashlight, your reticle is going to get washed out fairly easily. I mean, there's not a lot of lighting scenarios where the dual illuminated model works very well. The other option is an LED model. They have an LED model that auto adjusts, that does not have these buttons here, this plus and minus. It just auto adjusts to ambient light, and that's nice. But this also does that. These are the manual adjust. These are called the LED adjustable models, and while they're both adjustable, this one can be manually adjusted. It can also be set to auto adjust, and it can also be turned off. So I think that this model gives the most options and the most flexibility in the most lighting conditions and shooting scenarios. So with that being said, that's pretty much why I went with this. The only downside to this that some people say is that because it can be turned off, if you have it holstered and you have pressure being applied, you can shut off the sight inadvertently. I have never, it's never happened to me. Granted, I haven't had this sight very long. I've only been carrying it on my pistol for about 2 weeks now. But I don't really see that being a problem at all. And I prefer this model over the other models. Another thing they don't tell you is that the glass on the RMRs, there's like a hue, there's like a tint on this glass. And on this one, if you're looking at it from the back, from the front, you can see that it's kind of green and orange, depending on which way you look at it. But from the back, which in my opinion is most important, you can see that there's like this light blue tint to the glass. And that's a very accurate representation also of, on camera. If you were to look at it in person, it would look almost identical to what you're seeing on camera right now. Now, what happens with the dual illuminated models is that depending on your reticle color, if you have an amber reticle, then this will be a red tint, and it's much darker than what you're seeing now. You can see there in the middle how it's kind of clear, and these LED models do have the clearest glass of all the models. So not too many people talk about that, but that is true, and I have used all of them. So if you have a dual illuminated model and you're using an amber reticle, you're going to have a red tint on your glass. If you're using a green reticle, you're going to have a very dark purple tint on the glass. And when I say dark, I don't mean that you can't see through it or that it's going to, block out your target, but it is noticeable. I can tell you that much, it is noticeable. And also, if you are using a front sight post that has an orange an orange circle around the tritium or something like that, if you use an amber dot that has that red tint, it's going to kind of wash out your front sight post, the paint on your front sight post, and make it very difficult to see. So just something to take into consideration. I don't know what kind of configuration you guys are using, but it's just something to think about. So that being said, I do want to try to get you guys a good look at this, the dot size here, if I can. And okay, there you go. That is a very accurate representation of the dot size. Very accurate, even on camera. So let me put it on my knock here and see if I can give it to you a perspective against the front sight post. Okay, there you go. That is a very good representation of the sight picture. Sorry for my shakiness. Well, that kind of wraps things up, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope it was, most of all, helpful. And if you are considering an LED model of any sort, I highly, highly recommend taking a look at this ceiling plate from Werx. This is a lifesaver when it comes to reliability. Here is the information. This is how it comes. This is the bag that it comes in. The Werx anti-flicker ceiling plate installation instructions. And there you go. It's pretty self-explanatory. But that's how you spell Werx. So check them out. This is the Trijicon box. If you're not familiar with it, I'll go over it really quickly. This is just how it's packaged. It'll come in this hard box. It's Trijicon, and then on the bottom, this is the model that I'm using. 6.5 MOA adjustable red dot. That's the RM07. And then inside you have your foam that it comes packaged with, a battery, some literature. This is the pack from the screws from agency arms. And you can see in here, they have a sticker, manual, a battery, just the normal stuff. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I hope that was a helpful review. And if you have any questions, just ask in the comments section, and I'll try to get some answers out there for you. Thank you.